I was a detective in Hopewell Township for approximately 15 years when I got contacted by our police dispatch that they needed a detective at the scene. It was a Sunday morning, cold, misty. Two golfers were golfing. One golfer sliced his ball into the wooded area leading down to the creek. They walked down to recover the ball, and they found the head there. The head was laying openly. All her hair was intact. Her ears were not damaged, and her eyes were not damaged. But from the nose down, it was pretty much destroyed. The murderer apparently had cut from the mouth back up toward the ears and dropped the jaw down, pulled out, and extracted all the teeth. We had the New Jersey forensic scientists come in who reconstructed the jaw for us so we could get composite artists to give us a rendition of what exactly the head looked like. But no one was able to make identification.
At that time, there were maybe 7 to at most 12 of us in the profiling unit. And I had the East Coast of the United States, so the call found its way to me. We identified victims through dental records. Whoever had decapitated this victim had physically removed the teeth. It takes someone who is coldly psychopathic, and by that I mean no guilt, no empathy, no remorse. Somebody who damn well knows what they're doing and knows it's wrong and trying desperately to not get caught. Thought they were dealing with a white male, 20 to 30 years of age, single, probably living alone. This is somebody with a car. Could have an occupation that involved travel, construction, landscaping. May not have killed before, but he's definitely going to kill again.
Rifkin's second victim was Julie Blackbird. He picked her up in Lower Manhattan, took her to his home on Long Island when his mother was away, bludgeoned her with a table leg, and then chopped up the body in the basement, as he did with the first one, and put the body parts in boxes with cement and dumped them in various waterways around the New York City area. She's never been found.
After he killed his second victim, police had no idea that a repeat killer was on the loose or was in the middle of a killing spree. About 4 months after Rifkin's second murder, he picked up his third victim, Barbara Jacobs, in New York City. He bludgeoned her to death while she was sleeping. Literally hours after Rifkin disposed of his third victim in the Hudson River, the fire department was doing some training downriver and found the body. A couple months later, Rifkin's fourth victim, Mary Ellen DeLuca, was found off the side of the road in Cornwall, New York, about an hour north of New York City. And victim 5, young Lee, was found floating in the East River. As Rifkin's killing spree continued, more bodies started showing up around the New York City area. But there were so many murders taking place in the late 80s and early 90s in New York City that the police weren't able to connect Rifkin's murders to each other. He put victims 6, 7, 8, and 9 all in oil drums and dumped them into various rivers in New York City.
Victim number 6, based strictly on Joel's admissions to the police, was placed in a barrel that he stole from a construction site on Long Island, and to this day has not been found or identified.
Victim 7 is Lorraine Orvieto, and victim 8 is Mary Ann Holloman. They were both found floating in 55-gallon oil drums in Coney Island Creek.
On May 13th, 1992, I was at the 9th Precinct Detective Squad office in Brooklyn. We received a call that came in of a possible body in the water. A body in a barrel, kind of bouncing in the Newtown Creek between Brooklyn and Queens. The harbor unit showed up. They were able to get this barrel from the Newtown Creek over to the medical examiner's office. They proceeded to pull the person out. I'd been on the job, I guess at that time, maybe perhaps 10 years or more, and I had to run out of the room. I was about to get sick. The poor person's body was covered with soot. Her fingers were disintegrated. Her toes were gone. Her facial features were not there no more. You know, it was almost skeletal. The medical examiner stated that asphyxiation appeared to be what caused her death. I remember other members of the 9th Detective Squad told me, it says, Ray, we got 2 more. I go, we got 2 more girls in barrels? And yeah, in Coney Island. And I was like, taken aback. I was like, wow. My girl was victim number 9. I said, I think we have a problem with a serial killer. They were like, let's tape that down a little bit. They didn't want to panic the citizens of New York. But my feeling was that that's what we had on our hands.
After he killed his 9th victim, Rifkin went on to kill 8 more women in about a year. Anna Lopez, Iris Sanchez, Violet O'Neill, Mary Catherine Williams, Jenny Soto, Leah Evans, and Lauren Marquez. And his killing spree would have kept going.
But it all came to an end in June 1993.
It was an extremely quiet night. The road was desolate. We just were driving, checking the parkway, doing the usual routine stuff. We noticed a pickup truck in the center lane, and as we got closer, we realized that there was no license plate on the vehicle. We turned on the overhead lights, actually hit the siren to let him know that we're behind him and he was to pull over, but he just kept driving, and that's when I initiated the pursuit.
We're in pursuit of a vehicle, failure to comply. What type of vehicle is it? Mazda pickup. We're heading north on 107 now.
It went on for about 20 minutes or so. At one point, he did have the truck up on 2 wheels, and I thought it was going to roll over. It came to an end when he went up onto the sidewalk and hit a light pole.
1L35 to Farmiga. That chase has ended. We're at Washington Ave and Old Country Road. Farmdale Zone 1 patrols be advised. 1L35 has got the vehicle stopped.
I came running up, and he was just sitting there, and he put his hands up like this as I approached. That's when I noticed stench. We started looking more in the car. That's when we saw the quick glimpse. It was shocking. I was not expecting that at all. This is the truck. Brings back a lot of memories for that night and how it changed everything. Routine traffic stops were never routine ever again. Once Rifkin hit the pole, the truck came to a complete stop. We removed him, handcuffed him, placed him in the car. Then I went back up with a flashlight to check VIN numbers and registration information. And then that's when I noticed the strong stench of decaying body, and worked my way to the back. And as we were shining the flashlights in the back, we could see what appeared to be someone rolled up in a blue tarp. And when we peeled the one corner back, you could see the shoulder and head area of a deceased person that was starting to decompose.
It's nice to see you. I haven't seen you in so many years.
It's good to be here. It's like old home.
Yeah, appreciate
really
you coming back in.
Yeah.
Stephen Lauder was the main investigator on the Rifkin case. He actually interviewed Joel Rifkin and was part of obtaining the confession. Going through some of the notes that I found that you guys had back then, the amount of work you guys did on this case is incredible.
Well, the division brought down 60, it was maybe all told 60 of us working on this thing full time.
So it was a task force?
It was a task force, yes.
During the night of the arrest, when you guys spoke to him, how did his confession go?
Well, he's pretty matter of fact. I always got the sense that he just was getting something off his chest because he was caught, and he was like, why bother anymore? He was not upset. He was very straightforward. We'd ask him, how many have you done before? You seem like you've done this before. And he said 17. We gave him some paper and some maps that he asked for, and he wrote it out himself. Everything he took from them, where he caught them, what they had on at the time, and where he dumped their bodies.
He wrote this confession down and he listed all the victims, and then he marked it on a map.
He put in locations as far as he remembered them. His recollection was pretty much on point.
I also found a book that had pictures from the search warrant.
I tell you, it brings you back to that room.
This must have taken you guys a long time. This is a lot of...
It took a lot of time, and I remember it being very hot. We went all through his room. Things were everywhere, under his bed, on his dressers, in his closets. He kept things that we now know as trophies of the victims, jewelry, IDs, bags, clothing. In the garage, there was a wheelbarrow there that had a large amount of blood in it. Rifkin claimed it belonged to Tiffany Bresciani. We had teams that assigned to each victim number. Some of the driver's licenses were able to be matched through family members to some of the victims.
Tiffany Bresciani was my niece. Tiffany loved music, and she loved Mozart. She was a very intuitive, tender person. In 1986, she moved to New York with her boyfriend. She was 16. I don't know if she knew anybody. That made her a very vulnerable target. When the police reached out to the family and told them that Tiffany was murdered by Joel Rifkin, the family was heartbroken. I feel that the police handled it as discreetly as they could, but reporters, they referred to her as the body in the truck. It just felt very demeaning. All of these girls were real people, and they deserved respect for that.